to see where we're going to go. We started the day off on border. EU had a lot of map diversity. NA very close as well. Are we going to see another border? Well, it's still on the table. It's gone now, so we'll be playing a new map today, and it's going to be Clubhouse between these two teams. A map that FaZe is very good on, and if you remember, it was a long time ago, Michael, but at the Raleigh Major, FaZe played Empire, and what I honestly believe was, other than probably the G2 Empire matchup that finished the Raleigh Major, FaZe and Empire played each other, and Empire was so dominant on Clubhouse, that old adage, never take a Russian team to Clubhouse. FaZe slapped Empire on Clubhouse. They won 7-1, if I remember correctly.
Surprised everyone.
And surprised everybody, and well, we had a ball game. It's a very good map for FaZe, and Nip as well are quite proficient here.
Yeah, so recent statistics say that Pyjamas, well, they haven't really actually played it. So I don't really have much to talk about there. And obviously it's actually the same for FaZe, because they haven't been playing. Both of these teams haven't been playing recently. I mean, if I'm taking a look here, we've got 5 matches actually being tallied up here in my most recent stats. So what do you guys think it's going to be FaZe, according to the community?
54% of you thinking that FaZe will take it to 39% with a 7% draw. Draws are they're not in vogue right now.
Well, I mean, no one's ever really... I think the highest percentage we've ever seen for a draw was probably an SSG game.
It was like 12 or 15% or something like that. I think it was like SSG Rogue. It was 15%.
It might have been like 20. I want to say.
I don't remember.
Remember.
Somebody who is watching this will surely know, and they will be able to correct us.
Very few people keep track of that, but yeah.
There are people.
Are there? Really?
Statisticians.
I keep track of them, but
data gatherers.
I forget it.
The data gatherers.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I guess we'll find out later when somebody tweets at us.
That's usually what happens.
Yep.
Hey, casters, you are not smart. LOL. I knew this, and you didn't.
Statistic.
Here's a small minutia that you are expected to know at all times. ROFLMAO.
You know, our access to actual data, though, has been so much better than it was in the past. Like, if you take a look, if you throw it way, way back, I mean, forget about it. No stats were referenced. No data was actually, you guys
didn't even take notes.
What?
Remember, you had just started taking notes.
Well, no.
I remember my very first cast.
Hey, listen, I had to learn in the fire, okay?
Half the casters didn't even take notes when I first showed up. I remember that.
Well, I was casting. I was taking notes when you showed up for the first time.
One day.
No, I had been taking notes for a little bit. I just started, but it was actually, again, this was a long time ago. But yeah, no, I mean, it was a trial by fire. It's not like I had a guiding light or anything like that.
Are you saying that I was your shining beacon when I showed up?
Yeah, I mean, sure. Yeah. Definitely shining. Now.
Blinds people off my head. Blinds people off my head.
Yes.
We're just waiting for
it's actually
to be full, by the way.
It's actually growing in really fast. We were talking about this earlier, but it's like it is noticeably. It's a lot longer than it was yesterday. I swear.
It's been 7 days.
Yeah.
From it, have no hair.
And it's just
7 days.
Coming back.
7 days.
Almost immediately.
Almost immediately.
Yeah.
Crazy to think. Hell of a performance my hair is doing right now.
Yeah, it's trying to clutch up hard.
So we're just waiting, like I said, I don't know if you heard me, we're just waiting for everybody to get into the lobby, and then we will get underway. A Clubhouse matchup here. Nip and FaZe, though, are two teams that don't always ban Thatcher, and I find that Thatcher bans are very regional. The teams that like to play inter-regional ban Thatcher. He was, for a period of time, the most banned operator in Latin America and on attack.
Yes.
There's no way around that. And there were times where FaZe and Nip, of course, banned him. But when you go to international play, teams will be prepared for it, so you have to throw a curveball. Liquid, for that matter, didn't ban Thatcher as much in OGA Pit or at DreamHack Montreal as we expected them to in international competition. Are we going to see something similar from FaZe and Nip here? Are they going to ban somebody else? Because think about it. Clubhouse, if you don't ban a Thatcher, Maverick's going to come out every round no matter what.
And I don't have a lot of stats to pull on right now, and to give you kind of an understanding, because of how little these teams have played recently, I know that Thatcher is the most banned operator for Ninjas and Pyjamas most recently, and they have banned him 2 times. So I don't really have and that's the last few months.
2 times.
So it's not a lot to go on. And yeah, both of these teams don't have a strong history of banning Thatcher as much as some of the other ones that we've seen in Latin America. But the biggest thing that I've always noted on is that they both are good at getting around a Thatcher ban. If it pops up, they can deal with it. And not always in mavericking, but they have their own ways to actually circumvent the problem. And that's really big. That's really big. When a Thatcher ban comes out, it's not like these guys are going to hit a wall.
No. It might flummox other teams, but what we hear from scrim reports in Brazil is that the amateur teams ban Thatcher as well. Thatcher bans are very, very common there,
yes,
especially as it trickles down and all the teams play each other. Now, you can obviously argue about the benefits of an inter-regional meta and how much that helps you outside of the region itself. I've had some very choice words for what I think is North America trending towards more of a regional meta that is handicapping them on a global stage. But I think that when you look at Latin America, I think that the Thatcher ban is required within your region, and that is, to a certain effect, detrimental to your international play. You need to be able to overcome it. You were very right that both FaZe and NiP are proficient at playing around it, but they also can play without the ban, just as Liquid can.
I would say, I can't really think of a better way of saying this, other than most internationally competent Latin American teams, which is, all the big dogs, like Ninjas and Pyjamas, like FaZe, Liquid, and so on. They have two different skill branches where they will pull out things for their local meta and pull out things for their international meta. And they can combine those often. We'll see a lot of mixture in their play, a lot of gear shifting. I think it makes them really versatile teams. They are often some of the squads that will surprise us the most at LANs because of this. Because you'll see them playing online, you'll take that, you'll see them playing in their own region, you'll take that as a comparison of how they're going to do against other teams on an international LAN, for example, and it's totally different. So they have a lot more tools to pull on because of their experience at LANs. When you're going to a LAN, you can expose yourself to other regions' metas, and then you bring it back and you develop things, but they don't lose sight of, you could say, their own Latin American or Brazilian specifically heritage in their meta. And I think that's one of the things that is really interesting about NiP and FaZe and so on with the other top dogs in LATAM. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what you've said about North America. What you said, you had some choice words. I know this is a little bit of a sidetrack, but we've got time to kill. What was that?
Yeah, we do. We're still waiting on the full lobby right now. I have said that the way that the amateur scene in North America plays, which is very haphazard, very rush, very little structure,
I know what you're getting at,
is kind of that. Canadian once referred to it as the brick brain style of gameplay. That because that in a best of one scenario can take advantage of teams that are not prepared for it on maps that you're not expecting, because there is really no way to strat it or to effectively combat it. In a best of three, totally different ballgame. In a best of three, it's not going to work over all three maps. But in a best of one, it can catch you with your pants down and totally take you by surprise. And I think that a lot of North American teams, especially a lot of the newer teams that have made it to North America, have played this reckless, aggressive style with very limited structure and aggression that often is reckless. And because of this, a lot of the good North American teams have to play a similar style, and because of that, they can't play against teams with greater structure on an international stage.
Now, it's why you got to be excited for players like Alfama coming into United. That's actually, I think that should, to give one specific example, because I don't think United is an unstructured team, but that's going to add a lot to them, I would say. But that's a totally separate discussion, and we're getting sidetracked here. What we do have for you is a really juicy, absolutely prime, very, very perfect 5-minute break. So we'll be back after that.
Thank you so much for your patience. We haven't had a chance to get into our second matchup of the day, but it is moments away. I'm not even kidding.
Moments.
It is moments.
Actual moments, like 2.
We'll turn these moments one day, Michael, into memories, and it will take us roughly about an hour or so to see what happens between these two titans of Latin America. Ninjas in Pyjamas versus FaZe Clan, and Cameraman's already crashed.
That sounds like a lyric to a song. Moments into memories. Turn these moments into memories. No, that doesn't work. How would you sing that?
What if you rapped it?
I can't.
I mean, like, rapping is... You can't rap. Okay, we've all seen the videos.
That's just like when I'm like...
Kix' rap album.
I'm just like really in the groove and there's a lot of information to put out, if that makes sense.
You overload the people with your ability to speak quickly. It is very nice.
What are you doing with your voice there?
This is my I'm rich voice.
No.
This is how rich people talk.
No.
Yes, Reginald.
Yes.
Yes, Reginald. Get my third Cadillac. It's in the garage behind the Bentleys. There's multiple Bentleys. I don't need any of them. I would like to drive something a little bit more affordable today.
Get me the Toyota Prius.
I would like to be one of the commoners today. Public transit, never heard of it. Anyway, we got a Clubhouse, and surprisingly, no Thatcher ban. We've got Hibana on the board. We got a Monty ban on the board. Mira's going to join Maestro. Echo, what do you think here? Keep in mind, Goyo does see a lot of play on Clubhouse. Could we see a Goyo ban?
We could, but I don't expect it to come out. It'll probably be an Echo Maestro, but it'd be cool if we saw a Goyo. I mean, we get a sidestep for the meta a little bit here, especially in Latin America. These are the pioneers of the Latin American meta, so, I mean, from them, maybe.
I should have forgot it was FaZe. FaZe hates playing against Hibana and Echo. They always ban Hibana Echo.
That's true. Like,
it slipped my brain thoughts.
Let me check over there.
We might need a rehost if Cameraman hasn't rejoined, by the way.
Oh!
He's back in!
Yeah, so Echo is the most banned operator for FaZe, and their second most is Mira. They really don't like either of them, and I remember that as well now, that if Echo is banned by the other team, they'll ban Mira. Like, it's just there's two operators that FaZe typically don't let play. It's the same thing for Ninja Bamas, though. Actually, they also hate Echo, but they know that FaZe hates Echo here. That's why they ban Mira first. I mean, the bans on defense are not going to be changing for these two teams.
No.
Really rigid.
So Maestro's in play. He wasn't in play the very first time around.
Montaigne on the ban. Quite interesting.
A Monty ban against FaZe. Never seen that before.
It is actually really sensible because Montaigne, first of all, FaZe, of course, very good at playing Monty. Second, this is a Monty favor.
Could have kept it north aligned.
It's okay, Parker. He's going to keep doing that. It's going to keep happening.
Could have kept it north aligned.
Can't stop it. They can't. So the spectator cannot hear us in this case. But as I was saying, the Montaigne ban, very, very good on this map and against FaZe, no less. So that's smart. Smart. Like that.
Church defense downstairs. Goyo is going to come out on Astro's hands, though. Interesting. Goyo is not really a fragging operator, and Astro very much plays.
I don't know about that. I'm still disagreeing with this stance that everyone seems to have. The TCSG and the Vector are both really good guns.
A lot of people don't think that.
A lot of people
don't see Goyo and Kaid as fragging operators, man.
I wouldn't say Kaid, but Goyo is. I mean, he's a little bit more maneuverable, of course. So he's all right. He's not a fragger. He's not, and I'm not going to argue that he is.
So the M249 in the hands of Psycho on the Capitao.
But he's flex. He's flexible. He can do a lot of things. All right. Okay.
He's flex.
Yes. He mostly just is about disruption, though. It's just all about the shields, really, if we're talking about that.
He's a utility soak.
Yeah.
That's, I think, the best way of describing him. He is a disruptor, yes. He does area denial, and he's a utility soak. So.
We've got FaZe with a pretty good loadout for slowing things down. I mean, we've got the Legion, got the Goyo, got the Smoke. You've got Pulse bringing... I'm not sure what Cameraman's doing there.
He's just, you know what? He's just having a good time.
Pulse is really good on the basement of Clubhouse. This is one of his best bomb sites, period. Not only can you see 4 from below, but much more importantly, in my opinion, you have so many opportunities to gather useful information on the enemy's location. especially by the Moto or Memo area where Astro is trying to challenge.
It takes a lot of damage in the process, and there's no way to get him back up from such a low HP, so he'll just stay there. Mav is not in the usual part of back of Arsenal, often referred to as pulse spot by most teams, at least in North America. It's one of those things that we'll have.
It's an NA1 for sure.
Yeah. It's the first panel at the bottom of main stairs on your left, and you will usually see it. Well, a lot of teams refer to it as back of Arsenal.
Yeah.
So,
well, back of Arsenal is a really bad call because
generally the back of Arsenal is like where
it could be either side.
Yeah, it's pretty much dirt. Right?
And people get it confused, so it's just a bad one in general. But anyway, it is usually called Pulse Spot, and Pulse will get the lead-off kill on a Pino. That's a good one for Mav.
I must ask you a question. Would you like to catch my C4? I would
Pino
imagine
said yes. Pino said yes.
Pino said yes. Pino, the answer was yes. Still a C4 in hands for Astro as well. Toss it at any point. That's the only other explosive that will be available for the defenders. If you look at the lineup that they've rolled out, with the exception of the impacts on Yuno, which might have already been made for rotates. Cameraman, ever so persistent.
He's stuck to that, yeah.
I don't know if he's been droned out at all, though, and he might have to retreat as there goes the fire in front of him. It will grow, and the drop works out perfectly because he backs up into the hatch that Kamikaze was watching over top of. Nip with an excellent job, pinching one of the members of FaZe. And blue control now should be close to theirs, though there's a smoke just waiting very patiently. Ion can choke off the doorway leading from Oil Pit into blue, and there's no way for the attackers to be able to fight through it without sustaining some significant damage. Having Maverick open a tiny bit of the church wall, you have a peekaboo spot for Ninjas in Pyjamas, but they're just going to have to dry push on in. They'll out-duel the Goyo. They're in, crouching up and down, bobbing, weaving, duck, dip, diving, and they are falling to FaZe in a 1v3 with Psycho dead in the waters. FaZe will take round number 1, and on a map like Clubhouse, you expect the defenders to win this site.
So Astro and Cameraman were the loose threads in FaZe's defense there, and Ninjas in Pyjamas pulled, but they couldn't get much more than those two players. While you had them both very exposed early on, it didn't really matter because it took so long for Ninjas in Pyjamas to capitalize upon that exposure that Cameraman and Astro were, putting themselves in. I mean, how long do we have there? 18 seconds when the push came in? Something like that?
Something like that.
Yeah, it's just not enough time. I don't care how much of an advantage you have. The defenders are going to be able to hold on to those bottlenecks and wait it out, and that's exactly what we saw from FaZe. I mean, it even ended, I think, in kills despite that. So really, a struggle there for Nip. They're going to have to work better next time they go on to attack of the basement, but for now we're going to cash, which should be a much different site in terms of how it's played. Now, look at that. FaZe Clan slightly more successful in Clubhouse, but there's not a lot of track record there. That's, of course, the whole last season and just Season 10. So some of those stats are pretty far back.
FaZe is a good attacking team on Clubhouse as well, and that was, I think, something that's worth mentioning. And that's a big part of why Nip removed the Montaigne from play, is because, I mean, Yuna as a Monty is probably the best shield player, I would say, in the world, probably.
He's up there.
Pengu is a very good Monty as well, but you can't take it away from the way that Yuna plays, so...
Yeah. Didn't we... No, I'm mistaken. The one thing about having Montaigne ban, though, is that it means that Capitao is in play. So if you've got Capitao, you can still deal with somebody on the catwalk. Whereas that's what Montaigne would be useful in doing right now, is pushing catwalk out. Capitao can do that too. You just have to be more precise with your push.
Just trudge on up. And if there's a Monty on the board as well, most teams will like to run a Legion every single round. Now, Legion is very popular, so you might see him often, but it doesn't really matter. In this instance, we've seen Legion twice. Yeah, twice, yeah.
I think so. I mean, yeah, he's going to be the sort of operator. I mean, on Clubhouse, he's going to get played every round, I would imagine.
Actually, no, I didn't. I'm trying to remember. What was the lineup? There was a Smoke, there was a Pulse.
A Jaeger.
There was a Legion, and there was a... Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there was. And a Goyo. So there was a Legion in play last round. Astro's trying to impact trick the wall just in case he manages to get an exothermic charge from the Thermite as he patrols Lounge and watches the doorway to see if someone pushes on in. You can clear and go in through that doorway while another member of your team takes out the garage. CCTV wall has been opened up by what you referred to as Maverick tricking, but what is that?
I hope that's not, like, movement inhibiting.
Of course it is. You can't get through that.
Well, I mean, it might be...
are still up there.
It might be like a hovering graphic or something, not actual... I mean, if the actual studs are there, then that's a problem.
Now, with those studs, for people that are not fully aware, with those studs, you can't shoot through them with regular bullets unless it's a shotgun.
Yeah, we can't break them. You can shoot through them, and
Yes.
you'll do damage, but you can't,
break
the
through them.
studs.
So if you see the studs on the wall and you say, "I'd love to go through here," because you know your ability to do so is hindered.
So they need
Nothing you can do. You need a shotgun
or explosive.
or explosive. So Nip might be in a position where it's open.
It could be a spectator bug because it doesn't seem like he's aware, or maybe he is. I'm really curious what's going on here.
This is something that we're going to need to have an answer to at some point, whether we can get on in. Psycho is fed to Mav at the top of the catwalk. You hear the Maverick take some damage down below of Julio, or Pino rather is there, and Julio's in the doorway and he takes some damage. Losing his intel, his map, so he's just going to have to engage in a fight, but he's got 2 targets and he can't hit either of them. Pino will clear out the garage and then take the Mav cam out as well. Mav's cam and Maestro. 30 seconds on in, and there we go. Can you get through? Is this a spectator bug? I would assume so, since they're going to go for the second wall that has been unorthodox. If you've got clear passage on into the site,
Yeah.
Nip don't have a lot of time to work with, and there you go. The second part of the wall is opened up. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Watching for the rotate from red. Kamikaze will attempt the reverse plant. C4 goes out. He will manage to get to safety, but there's not a lot of time. He gets gunned down from Astro, and this is an impossible task now from Nip. They are way too spread out. Julio's not even on the same floor. And as you see the Zofia drop down, the clock will strike 0 on their attempt. FaZe will win the round. 2 in a row.
So of course, hindsight 2020, that could have been a stuck plant, but really I gotta say, I'm pretty sure that wall was untraversable. They couldn't get through. There was no way for them to actually push in. They had to rotate the thermite over to open up the wall closer to the actual building. They tried to go for a backwards plant, and again, hindsight 2020, they could have stuck that plant. And in retrospect, even there's the only way they could have won the round is if they stuck the plant there, but they didn't. They tried to fake it out for the C4s, which went wide and somewhere else entirely. Then there were gas canisters to deny any further attempts. So, not a great try there from Nip, but also you gotta feel for them. The fact that wall didn't fully open, that was a lifeline that prevented to destroy the studs. That really, an impact lifeline that should have destroyed the studs that didn't. I don't know how that happened. I've never seen that happen before. So, that's new. Unlucky, I guess. Anyway, apart from that, Ninja Pyjamas got control of Garage, which is a pretty big part of the attack because Mav died there, but it took them a long time to do that. Following that, they had the wall open. There was definitely a chance for a plant, but there were so many bodies on the floor at that point for Ninjas in Pyjamas that it would have been a really difficult plant to pull off, and plenty of denial still for FaZe. So FaZe put themselves up 2 rounds early on. Of course, Clubhouse being a defender-sided map, that's not exactly surprising.
When everything goes according to plan on Clubhouse, defending teams win church and cash and then lose gym bedroom.
Generally speaking, yeah.
That's the way it works.
So FaZe, if they pull out a win here...
What in God's name is that monster?
That is a suppressed vector with a hollow on it.
Oh boy.
I mean, never seen a suppressor on a vector before. I mean, I've seen it, but never in Pro League.
Makes a very satisfying noise.
Yeah, it's well, honestly, it kind of sounds like a...
I don't know. The best, in my opinion, the best sounding suppressed weapon in the game is Ying's LMG.
I was gonna say it sounds kind of like a fart, to be honest.
You can't say that word.
The vector.
Like you can't say fart on TV. Ying's gun suppressed, like that LMG, her main gun.
I agree with you. It sounds very good.
It sounds.
It's got a kind of a thud property.
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah.
It's
You know, honestly, if suppressors didn't have...
We don't need to get into this again.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
There's a minute in the round. We can rant about this another day.
Yes. So FaZe holding true right now on gym bedroom. Nothing really amazing happened so far from Nip. They're just trying to testing the defenses, prodding things. I don't know if they're trying to clear out cache or not, but it didn't look like they were actually going for a dedicated cache clear, which is understandable. Sometimes it takes a lot of time, and honestly, Ninja Pyjamas' time management has been the greatest downfall through this match so far. We're only 2 rounds in, but still.
It's hard to contextualize, or rather, not even contextualize, that's the wrong word completely. It's hard to put into perspective how much of Nip's strategy changed by that wall not opening up properly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's really what cost them, but it slowed things down.
They couldn't push the way they wanted to. You knew that FaZe could play more aggressively behind it because they didn't have to worry about somebody walking into sight, even though they know that there's an opening.
No, I'm not going to disagree on, like, you're absolutely right. It hurt their attack quite a lot. And considering, again, how generally slow NiP are being on their attacks right now, I think that could have crippled them. But, there are other things that are going wrong with NiP right now. If, for example, we're at 45 seconds and we're just getting the first kill.
There you go. Speaking of NiP, Cameraman is on the roam downstairs, or Astro rather is on the roam downstairs, hasn't been spotted. So is Yuna, but he's not really quite on the roam. He's still a little bit far off. That underbarrel red laser sight is going to give his position away if he looks in another direction. He sees the head of the thermite. Can he land the shots? Well, he's going to lose it out to the Maverick. Down he goes. And Julio is on in as NiP need one kill for the flawless round, and they'll get it. Their very first round as well. Not a bad start.
So things are going, as you said, according to plan.
According to plan.
With this round rotation right now. So if the plan continues, if the script is followed exactly, it'll be a basement defense successful, followed by a cash defense successful from FaZe, and then the final round of the first half, Ninjas in Pyjamas will, again, win their attack onto Gym. And we'll have a 4-2 half, and then we will go to the second half, and that will be repeated now with Ninjas in Pyjamas being on defense, and then we will have a draw, as the prophecy foretold.
Somebody let them know we don't need to play the rest of the match. Michael's already decided.
I've already decided how it's going to happen.
Yes, hello.
It's the prophecy,
Can you
Parker.
get me here, Snow Brazil? Let Ninjas in Pyjamas and FaZe Clan know that we are done playing. Michael has already solved all the rounds.
One exactly as you would expect cycle into
yes,
this
I will
match.
hold. I will hold.
And that's what you I mean, yeah, this is what you expect.
Here are your operator bans. Monty's only been banned 6%.
Oh boy.
Season 10. You have to suspect that's against very specific teams. Monty is not a comfort ban. He is a counter ban.
Yeah.
He's a comfort ban in ranked. As most people here, their most, I guess, their biggest point of comparison is going to be to when they play ranked or unranked and they have the operator bans in the game itself.
Yep.
Monty, along with Jackal, are your usual go-to bans for ranked, at least from my experience and the experience of most streams I watch and most people I talk to. It's because they are very frustrating to play against when you do not have the appropriate amount of counters. And even then, I think some people will very rightly say that countering a Montaigne can be exceptionally tough even with the right counters. So,
yeah.
Against a team like FaZe Clan that you know runs him, centers their strategies around him, it's very smart to take him out of play.
I mean, it's just eliminating a potential part of the strat book for FaZe. Like, 3 pages out of the way, and you can deal with the rest of it. It's good. It's smart for Ninjas in Pyjamas. They're going to start with a clear on the top floor. It has taken them 45 seconds to begin this, which is not exactly slow, but it's not fast either. It's kind of mediocre. But the clear is coming out, and a mediocre, thorough clear is better than a team haphazardly entering the building without clearing. So props to NiP for actually taking that step, because many teams we've seen actually skip those basic steps. FaZe opening up a lot of holes here. They're just setting up for C4s, of course. They've moved their pulse from pulse spot over to church. They decided that they want more information on that side instead. Nothing too special coming out right now?
Yeah, I was going to say time is working as you'd expect for a church take. Now, for people that are not as familiar with how this works, especially when you only have 2 hard breachers or 1.5 hard breachers, as some teams refer to Maverick and Thermite as, depending on how you utilize them. Well, church is going to be quite slow anyway. It is the distinction of being one of only a couple bomb sites in the entire game where you can sit everybody down on the sites and not have to roam.
It's very rare.
Don't need map control. And I mean, it is rare, but it is starting to grow. To be fair, we saw it in NA yesterday. There's a space station strat. There's a couple teams in NA that waste a lot of time with mutes and mozzies or even vigils or castles, etc. And you put 4 people upstairs.
Comes in waves, yeah.
It comes in waves.
I mean, it depends on the teams a lot.
Julio not having the best success right now. I don't know if he's deliberately trying to open this up. Mav is on a shred of HP, and he knows that he's going to be going out with a bang. So what does he do? Well, he tries to escape. Opening kill goes to NiP. It's very late in the round. We're almost done with it. Tossing in a toxic canister. Once again, patrolling blue will be Ion. The mute pushes up. It's to his doom as Astro is cut down to size, and Nip's advantage grows by 1. Mav is still hanging on by a thread, so even though he has a gun, a lot of people would consider this maybe to be a 5v2, and it really becomes a 5v2 as Pino picks up yet another kill. Fire rages in front of him. It's a 5v1. Are we going to see another flawless round from Nip? Yes, survey says. 2 rounds in a row from them, both flawless.
So Ninjas in Pyjamas are flipping the script. They've gone off the beaten path, and they've won an attack onto the bottom floor. That prodding into the church wall from the Maverick was really special for Ninjas in Pyjamas. It actually put a lot of pressure on the anchors in church, allowing Ninjas in Pyjamas to take into blue because the blue hold was not supported by the church hold from FaZe. So that was a really nice fake there from Nip, followed by a really well-landed punch into blue, which pretty much sealed the deal and ended the round in Nip's favor. As all the while, FaZe were trying their best to regain control by getting very aggressive. We saw a push into Moto, for example. That was punished. Why? Because Ninja Pyjamas are throw, and they are watching for that attempt from FaZe. And, well, they're going to be able to shut it down. All these different factors, they add up to a Nip round win. It was pretty much over from the point where the Moto rush was stopped cold in its tracks, because that was the last anchor in church, if I recall, for FaZe. And, yep, there you go. Now I'm done. It's been a really good attacking half so far for Ninjas in Pyjamas. The fact that they managed to win that one was a pretty big round. It means that FaZe are going to go to basement here, and then they're probably going to go to cash, and the best this could be is a 4-2, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be. So it's got the bank graphic there for some reason, but as you can see, there's a 61%.
Same yesterday.
Yeah,
It's bank yesterday.
I'm not sure why that keeps happening, but the 61% win rate on defense for this map. That's a pretty high percentage. And Clubhouse has always been one of those maps that leads in defender success. Again, further enforcing the weight of that last round win for Nip.
Nip had a really rough go on the cash attack, but since then I think, and we even said there's an asterisk next to that one because it's like, is it because the wall didn't open up effectively?
We're not sure.
Maybe. Yeah, we don't really know.
I mean, obviously, even the teams don't know. We'll never know. Didn't happen.
Did not happen, Michael.
There will be another cash attack, though, later, after this round. Very likely the last round will be a cash defense. Even if FaZe lose this, they might try to mix it up.
Yeah, you're not going to go back to gym, especially when cash is available. I think the right call would be to go over there. I mean, unless they know something that we don't.
Yeah, I mean, again, FaZe aren't guaranteed to win this round even, so they could still go basement if they lose here. I just don't see that. 3 basement rounds in a row. FaZe usually adapt faster than that. So being careful not to get Kaid Electroclawed there. That's why they double EMP that drop down. You don't actually necessarily have to do it like that, and there isn't a Kaid, mind you.
Yeah.
But you don't actually necessarily have to do that. Use 2 EMPs, but that's why they're doing it. I'm not sure.
There could be a 6-pick there if you haven't droned effectively. Then there could be a 6-pick.
Right, no, I'm not talking about the 6-pick. What I'm saying is you don't have to double EMP, because if you detonate the thermite and the EMP detonates at the same time the thermite actually triggers, then the Kaid can't stop the thermite. So you can, if there's no pre-placed Kaid, you don't necessarily always have to double EMP. You can, you just don't have to. It was kind of a waste.
We might see the exact same pinch on the cameraman from blue, where the fire goes out, cameraman has to back up, but he's not going to win the fight. No chance. Does he even do a single lick of damage to Pino? Yeah, he does a tiny bit. Nip gets the opening pick. It's refragged by FaZe onto Julio, and you lose the Maverick, who was working on that church wall. Now your job gets a little bit tougher as an attacker because you can't push the defenders back as successfully as you wanted before. Mav off of the pulse, onto the Maestro. He's got a very tiny angle to look at between this deployable shield and the wall, the portion that's been opened up by the Maverick. Your own ability could be your undoing. Pino inside of blue, getting marks inside of church. Astro's going to be the first line in contact. The red dot seen on the wall. Still, you got Psycho from above. But it's an unfortunate push from Astro. It's punished by Psycho immediately. And Kamikaze inside of Moto, he's going to move in. There's a pinch potential here, but it gets shut down. As down goes the Zofia. Immediately, Mav turns around. Yuna gets in on the action. Mav gets one as well, and Yuna finishes it off with FaZe managing to regain their footing. They lost 2 rounds in a row, but they'll take a much-needed victory on a church defense, setting them up for their very final defense on a site any site but church.
So, that was an interesting round because it actually looked like Ninjas and Pyjamas were going to be able to make it happen. But in the end, Mav and Yuna, they were landing their shots, and they, well, held out, especially on the blue push. One thing I really got to say is, okay, cameraman, it's time to stop playing blue like that. Better for you not to play blue at all, because he's just getting pinched there and caught off. He even knows it's happening. I think he's learned his lesson now, but unluckily for him, he's not going to be able to defend the basement anymore, as this is the last round of the first half. Unless we get to, oh wait, it doesn't exist. So there's no OT, there's no chance to go to the basement again for FaZe, and cameraman was ineffective on all of those basement defenses. So probably just change it up next time, I would say. If you're gonna have teams like Ninjas and Pyjamas easily counter an extended push like that every round, don't do it. It's cash defense, of course, here, as you can see. Now we'll have pretty much the same setup going out here from what we saw last time. Nothing too crazy. Astro's going to impact trick in the garage. You still see Yuna's trying to figure out where he wants to put his evil eye, or sorry, his Valkyrie cams. Mav has already set up the evil eyes for the denial plant. Oh, this one's nasty because it lands on those trash bags out there and it kind of blends in. It's really hard to see unless you know it's there, because it's a common one. It's just a nasty common one. This one's also pretty good because no one ever really thinks to look up after they immediately come in through a breach. They don't think to look up because they can't look up, because they need to be, you know, holding angles on people that are going to be pushing them and holding them and denying them coming in through the garage, or not garage door, the server wall, whatever. See if cameraman's able to do anything here. Whoa, that's a really good start. And
no Claymore, there's no Nomad or no Gridlock on the board. The camera gets spotted and finally destroyed, but you've removed Julio.
No Maverick tricking. No Maverick at all.
That's damning for an attack that relies so heavily on being able to cut through those steel reinforcements on the wall leading into cash.
Now, they do have all of the operators they selected have a part of taking open this wall. Every single operator can influence opening the wall if there's like a bandit or a Kai. But there's no bandit, no Kai, not even a mute. So it's a free wall for NiP. At least there's that. They can get the server wall without stress. Mostly just because FaZe isn't trying to cause them any stress. Other than that peek they had out through the garage. That camera really worked out.
Yes, it did. Very successful taking Julio out, though they didn't need him at all, so he wasn't as impactful as I had suspected, or as I think they had hoped for him to be. Yeah, nowhere near as much as he could have been.
If there were a bandit.
Keep in mind, though, Julio could have been used to get that wall open, and then the exothermic charge could have been used in the garage.
We could still see that happen, though. I mean...
It does appear that is what is happening with NiP, too.
Yeah, they're going to go for the garage. Now, of course, this is going to be impact tricked by Astro, who's in this position right now. He's waiting for his opportunity. He must have heard that. And it's a fake, maybe. EMP goes out. But the droning, yeah, he's been droned out as impact tricking, which means Ninjas Pyjamas are probably going to give up on this attempt. One thing I will say is that that Thatcher EMP just got like 5 Legion traps, which is really effective.
Yeah. So they managed to mark the Legion, and they're going to go back to work on this exothermic charge. It's getting all of our attention, but now Astro's fallen off as he started to get shot away at from the Capitao, and so goes the garage. So Ninjas and Pyjamas have opened up the 2 targets that they needed, even though they lost a hard breacher early on. Fire arrow goes above as Mav gets pushed out of his position and gets taken down by the Capitao Psycho. So he does both of the jobs that are required of him. Excellent work from Ninjas and Pyjamas to take that control. Still, they are tied up at 4-4. The plant denial from Ion is going to go down as the toxic canisters land right in front of the opening and will likely slow down the press from NiP. FaZe with 2 kills. NiP immediately enters in onto that. Ion needs to hold off for the time being. The clock is striking 0 right now on NiP. They've only got 1 up. He pushes on in, but FaZe managed to win it out. They will take their defending half 4-2 after it looked like it wasn't so certain.
Yeah, so they get the 4-2 that you expect them to get with 2 gym losses and 2 successful sets of basement and cash, but they did it in a different fashion than anticipated, in that they lost a basement, had to defend it twice in a row. So, I mean, okay, standard scoreline for Clubhouse. This is not a surprise in any way that it's a 4-2 first half. Now Ninjas in Pyjamas get to go to the advantageous side, and they will start in the basement. We'll see how that goes for them. I gotta say, there was nothing really special coming out from Ninjas in Pyjamas in the last round to suggest to me that they should have won that round. Again, the attacks from NiP in general were almost painfully thorough. They're not cutting any corners. They're not trying to get rid of inefficient parts of their take. They're just going through the motions. Sometimes that can work, especially against teams that will leave themselves exposed. And even normally, I would advocate for it. But there were a lot of things that NiP could have done quicker than they had in that attacking half.
Such as? I was kidding. I just said such as.
Oh, such as? Oh, yeah. For example, clearing out the top floor when they were when it was a defense at the basement for FaZe. Ninjas in Pyjamas were very, very thorough. You got to do that with the drones. If you're not expecting any roamers upstairs, then what you can do is you can, instead of actually hard clearing it, just trust the drones to gather all the information necessary. NiP didn't listen to that, though. They spent the full time clearing out everything upstairs. We've seen a lot of teams skip that process if there's no expected roamers, and then they can adjust if there is a roamer. Another thing you can do is you can bring in Jackal. He's not banned. He is going to accelerate that roam clear upstairs. What?
He just gave up.
He just gave up?
He was trying to get up there. He just gave up. Oof. That was a boomer wheeze, by the way. I know the people are going to be like,
These are some old school cams right now from Psycho.
I mean, you talked about this as Clubhouse in a nutshell. People stop attacking dirt so much that next thing you know, you start attacking dirt again. People stop attacking blue so much that next thing you know, you start attacking blue again.
It goes in cycles. It's just, it's the waves of what people want to attack and where they feel like things are vulnerable.
Tide comes in, tide goes out. You can't explain that.
Well, you can actually. So Oh, okay. I see. You're making a joke.
I'm glad you picked up on it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's a 4-2 for FaZe, but it's not necessarily a winning 4-2, given the map, again, given the situation. A lot is going to come down to how these defenses come out from NiP.
You could even argue that a 5-1 with the way that FaZe was playing and the way that NiP were playing made a lot more sense and should have been what FaZe ultimately got. It could have been a 3-3 with that one round in particular where NiP did not have the benefit of a proper impact going off on the wall.
I will say that having to defend Jim twice probably would have resulted in 4-2 because that Jim attack was really dominant for NiP.
Yeah, they were both the attacking round victories for NiP were both flawless, and I think
that's a good point.
That needs to be remembered here.
Ooh, this could be a really easy pinch onto Armory because the wall wasn't reinforced by Pulse Spot.
Yeah.
So they could just walk down main stairs and into Armory and cause a lot of problems for these anchors who are playing by the shelves and the boxes.
What would you call it if not Pulse Spot, by the way?
I don't know. I always just call that like Armory, to be honest. Like,
Armory's a big place, right?
Right, but I always call that Armory, then shelves, and there's the boxes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, anyway, moving on.
Utility dumped on in from Astro, as he's only got one of those concussions left from the lifeline. FaZe are just waiting now, and this is the calm before the storm, as we like to call it. If you've got any drones left, this is where you want to use them. Ninjas in Pyjamas are likely still sitting on full utility. Impacts from Julio in hand. Likely still have a C4 from the Valkyrie. You'll likely still have all 3 toxic canisters from Kamikaze. This bodes very well for NiP, especially if they have to funnel on in. But you've fallen back quite a ways. No contest on the wall. Astro takes out Kamikaze. A flash is going to go in. Psycho looks away. He can pop it from the shield. Ever so deadly when it comes to that Valkyrie play. 20 seconds. Tick-tock. FaZe, what are you doing? All you've done is taken out the smoke. That's a huge part of the defense for Ninjas in Pyjamas, but you got to drop. You want that 5th round. You got to work for it. You see from above. Armory control for FaZe. Cameraman finds Julio. And EMP will knock out all the gadgets around NiP in the back of Armory. Pino with 2 big kills. Musi with 1. No diffuser down. And Ninjas in Pyjamas, even though they only had a lone Valkyrie up, Psycho will hang on. The very first defensive round for NiP will be theirs.
So there's a few things that I want to talk about there. One is Ninjas in Pyjamas had a very different set of angles being utilized than most teams would employ on a basement defense of Clubhouse. The big highlight, of course, is going to be the reinforcement. I'm sure a lot of you noticed. It was the one between the bomb sites. So I could see that being there for a number of reasons. Reason number one, it denies the angle from kitchen into church. Now, what does that mean? I'm sure you're wondering. It means that as a player in church, I can hold Arsenal from church safely. I don't need to worry about either a grenade coming down and landing at my feet, which of course could be mitigated with an ADS, but not fully stopped because of Thatcher's EMPs, or B, someone just holding the angle from kitchen, through the kitchen floor, through the armory wall, down into church. So that reinforcement was pretty crucial to the way that the Ninjas of Pyjamas were setting up their defense for two reasons. One, again, they were using that position in church to hold Arsenal push. That's why Yuna didn't cross to Cubby. I'm sure a lot of you are wondering why Yuna didn't try to plant in the Cubby, which would have been safe from the Maestro that was by the shelves in Armory. The reason he didn't cross there is because he saw that it was being held, and he was too afraid to cost his team by going for that attempted cross. So he figured, okay, maybe I'll try to fake out the Maestro. He tried to fake out the Maestro 2-3 times maybe, failed, and then stuck the plant when there was no time left. He needed someone to cover him there, but that's Yuna and FaZe as a whole trying to adapt to the different way that Ninjas of Pyjamas were holding the basement of Clubhouse. Again, that's only one of the things that Ninjas of Pyjamas were doing. There were a lot of different layers to that defense. For example, the Maestro Evil Eye on top of the box that can see down into blue. Now, the reason that's really cool is because it's hard to land an EMP there. It's too far. It's a bad angle. It's hard to hit it with a lifeline with the arcs involved and being on top of the box. Just in general, that's a really durable lifeline, or sorry, Evil Eye, because it's so not exposed. And then there was also the shield that was being used to hold Moto. There's a lot more to talk about, but the round's actually going on now, and FaZe have gotten the lead-off kill in this round. So that's a really good start, considering they're attacking onto Cash.
It's Kamikaze again, who's the first death for Ninjas in Pyjamas on that pivotal denial operator. In this case, what you're going to be denying as Kaid is very different from what you're going to be denying as a smoke. Yes, Kaid will very likely be holding onto the C4 as he lost his impact grenades in the most recent changes to his operator kit. However, you as a smoke are tasked with stopping the plant from going off. And in this case, that might be on the shoulders of Julio or Muzi instead of Kamikaze. Also, whether we quarrel over it or not, the TCSG or the AUG, whatever Kamikaze might have had in hand as the Kaid, is not necessarily the kit that you want in a clutch or kick moment. That wall is absolutely destroyed. You can see Astro Utility dumping on in. The lifeline will go off, and it looks like actually all 4 of the projectiles have been shot out of the lifeline. Psycho down below, just watching inside of blue, in case Astro gets a little bit too close to that window. Well, he's a dead man. Will patience from Psycho be rewarded? Like a Zen monk. Sitting atop the altar. Nope, nothing. Astro will get off of the rappel, and I'm sure Psycho heard that, as rappels are not quiet by any stretch. Muzi anchoring down inside of garage, watching catwalk, and he'll see the explosion that happens inside of construction. And despite what I said about the TCSG, Pino will find the first kill for his team. Frag grenade rolls off as Pino re-engages, and he is gone, blown to smithereens, as there's clear access into construction, and that's where FaZe will assemble. Psycho has made his way up to the top of red. He'll watch, next to Julio, the volcanic shield, and await the push that's going to come.
It's a slow one for FaZe, but since they got that lead-off kill, they still maintain the advantage in this engagement. And Astro gets another of those very crucial moments. He'll get Muzi on the floor. Psycho also eliminated by Yuna, leaving just Julio, who does pick up Ion, but he needs to deny the plant. With no C4 and low HP, that's difficult. A run-in from FaZe will secure the round. And Mav puts his team one away from match point. That's a very big round win there for FaZe.
It's huge. And on Cash as well, Cash attack. Nip lost that early pick. It snowballed from there. It ended up being a 4v2 with both members of Nip trapped at the top of red. And as good as Psycho can be, you're not probably going to be able to outduel FaZe in such a claustrophobic set of circumstances. And you didn't have a lot of room to work with. So you were trapped inside of Cash, you get a pick, and then you die. And you look to go back to Cash and maybe change a few things. First and foremost, don't have Kamikaze peek an open window or an open wall. That's a good start. Outside of that, Nipper bringing the exact same lineup. 6-pick FaZe is up, so they can decide to change an operator. Neither team is going to do so. And we're all locked in, and we'll be ready to rumble in round number 9. Match point on the line for FaZe. If they get it, they move to match point.
From being defused by attackers.
What are you thinking about?
It's been a weird match. It's a good one, though. The way that these attacks have been coming out that last round, specifically focused on workshop construction. It's a little bit different. Usually teams will focus on, of course, the server wall and garage. A little bit of mix-up. Changes. I wonder how Nib's going to try and hold this now. I wonder how FaZe is going to attack it. Is FaZe going to go for the same thing they just did? Will Nib adjust their setup accordingly? Is it going to be an over-adjustment, and then FaZe attacks through the standard wall and garage? These are the questions. Well, now I'm just looking at the top where they have the operator bands, and they're not evenly spaced.
Thanks for pointing that out for me, by the way.
Did you never notice that?
No.
Really?
No.
Yeah, they base it on the name. It's like an even distance from the name, but the names are different lengths, so it's always...
Oh, that's what you meant.
Yeah.
Oh, look, I think that looks fine.
Well, you could put it at the corners.
Attackers have located a bomb.
I've been advocating for them to update the HUD and add the bands to like
At the end, yeah.
At the end of both of the teams.
The band should be in game.
The X, yeah, I agree with that as well.
Currently, they're graphics.
Yeah, if you're playing in your mid-round, you don't know what the bands are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to wait for the pick phase, and you have to be like, and that could actually be really bad because I often find myself in like a ranked match and I'm on defense and I'm like, did they ban Jackal?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Ubisoft is actually hiring a host of people right now. If you're interested in working for the game, we'll just put in a little shameless plug right there. It was on their Twitter account earlier today.
I mean, they own the game. Let's plug it.
Feel free to hire me. Feel free to hire me. I already helped design the game with Bikini Body, so I might as well.
That's right. You have executive control over all creative decisions.
I replaced Alex Remy.
Really?
Yeah, and Bikini Body replaced Xavier Marquis. So
I'm gonna miss Alex.
I'm gonna miss both of them. Great. Anywho, as thankful as we are of them producing this game, and they are the reason for this match happening. The match is indeed happening. So we'll turn our focus towards that. And while Nip has done an exemplary job of not giving up an early death, Kamikaze playing a little bit safer despite the fact that there is all this wreckage that has occurred on the exterior of the site. Astro's in the old reliable spot on Rappel, and he sees an Evil Eye cam that's situated at the back of the CCTV site. Sounds like he might have actually taken it out, as you can hear the telltale signs of it. Explosive going off.
Slow take once again, but we've seen that a lot. It's not necessarily slow in that it's bad, it's slow in that it's methodical, and I really gotta appreciate that from both teams. They're going through the motions, trying to check for all possibilities, taking their opponent very seriously. You know, looking through the Maverick hole, trying to catch the Maverick off guard, but of course, you're not gonna peek right after you Maverick. That time is gone now. That's not a possibility anymore. Since the weapon switch is as slow as it is.
There's the Valkyrie camera as well with 30 seconds left, and your execute will have to happen. We haven't had a successful execute from FaZe so far on attack. In fact, today in all of Latin America, we've had scarce executions.
We had one successful execution from FaZe.
I mean, getting the plant out.
Oh, okay, yes.
So Mav is going to take out Psycho. Gone is Pino. And FaZe find themselves with the 2 picks that they need, but this is not a winnable situation, at least not yet. They're going to have to hurry because the clock is going to be their nemesis, not necessarily Nip. Plant is going down. Yuna will need to be protected in the corner. Nobody sees him. Muzi finds one. He pushes out. He gets Yuna at the last second, and looks like Nip will be able to hang on. They'll pick up their 4th round, and it's all because of Muzi's rotate and nobody guarding Yuna in the corner. The Alda chews through anything it finds.
Yeah, you see the fateful moment right at the end there. You could actually notice that there was potential to cover the rotation from the garage window, and nobody was doing it. Big oof. Really, though, it mostly comes down to the chosen plant spot. I understand why they decided to plant there. It's because they hadn't gotten control of Garage yet, and the Maestro from Garage, using the basic rotation that is commonly established through the wall, can deny a push-in through both the workshop wall, the workshop door, and, well, Garage. So that's some really powerful denial potential from that Maestro. What he cannot see from the actual catwalk is the B window, unless he peeks it on a pixel angle, and he's probably going to die peeking that to somebody on the window who will be, pre-aiming for it. However, he didn't do that. He decided to vault the garage window, but nobody was covering that, which is weird. I think that could have been one for sure from FaZe if they had actually covered the garage window, but they were not trying to do so. Just in general, again, I think the real flaw was where they decided to try and play. They could have done a few other things there. And, it happens, but moving on. Ninjas in Pyjamas going to the basement once again. They're going to be doing their same setup that they did last time. Again, I really like this. They found ways to hold and deny all the things that are commonly denied in uncommon or unconventional ways, or unconventional means, I guess I could say. They brought a Kaid here, though, which is a little bit different. They did bring Kaid on the cash defense, but now on the basement as well. So slow things down for FaZe considerably. But speaking of, by the way, if you're wondering why Muzi's on low HP, Twitch drone zapped him with, I think, all of his zaps.
All 5.
Yeah. He went ham. Muzi's on 50 now.
Perfect use of a Twitch drone.
If you don't want to get rid of utility, I mean, with Maestro in play and Kaid in play, Twitch drones could be much more useful here.
Yeah,
at least there's EMPs.
That's true. You see the AUG in the hands of Psycho because you likely see the TCSG in the hands of Julio. Would be my guess.
Probably.
Don't have that information available to us, though, unless they see the Spectator swap on over, so we'll just await them to do that.
Loading you back.
What are they shooting at?
Well, he's just trying to make sure no one's playing at the bottom of main stairs. There was a...
It looked like there was a piece of like debris or something like that.
Yeah, I thought it was... Honestly, I thought it was a Prisma thing, but there is
there's
no alibi.
no alibi on them. Yeah, that's what I thought as well. I was like, that looks like a Prisma stand, so... But... Astro on Twitch is always a frightening thing to see. The F2 might have fewer bullets than it did when he was at his peak as a Twitch main. He's been playing other flex roles. We've seen him on Dokkaebi a lot. We've seen him on Zofia a lot.
What Twitch nerf?
Was that you joking?
Yeah, it's me joking about how it doesn't really change.
I mean, I think that with the recoil for people that aren't able to control it, the fewer bullets could make a big impact.
So
Somebody
none
like
of these
Astro,
people is what you're saying?
None of those people.
Yeah.
Nobody that's currently playing. So, but Astro's still positioned up at blue. He's reloaded. Still 26 bullets is quite a lot, but the high rate of fire can take somebody out in just a couple shots. That's all it's going to take.
It's really smart, Claymore.
Nip is hanging on for next minute or so. They don't have to give anything up. That's what a church defense does.
Twitch drone can't get over that little mound there. No jump on that Twitch drone, of course, if you're unfamiliar. Through the wall, Astro will get Muzi. It's a good spray. And the lead-off kill for FaZe. They'll need that to leverage an actual take onto this site.
That gun is so powerful, even the caliber-based destruction, it just melts walls. C4 primed and ready, tossed over, does not connect. Cameraman is a little bit too far away, and now you know that he's got a sense of urgency. Keep picking away at those walls. Ion finds Pino, and 2 kills for FaZe. Will we see more? FaZe is every single opening kill. Down is Psycho, it's Julio, and a 1v3 as Ion is downed as well. Julio could be exposed if somebody pushes in. There's the Twitch. The Vector will find its target. Reloads. Cameraman going for the plant. Mav will need to watch. Does he know the positioning? Mav sees him, and he'll finish him off. FaZe to match point.
Took him a while to figure out where that last player was. I was a little worried, to be honest, about the call from the Twitch, which must have come out, because Mav, look at him, he's like flicking from angle to angle. It's confusion, that's for sure. So FaZe's round there was mostly facilitated by the opening kill over by Blue. That leadoff kill was really important. It meant that when the church take came out, they didn't have to worry about Blue pressure nearly as much because they could hold on to Blue for the rest of the round. And the take also was helped greatly by the Maverick holes in the wall because regardless of the fact that they were not utilized to get a kill, they were forcing the players in church to play safe and not hold their default angles, their default bottlenecks, such as the Moto door. Meanwhile, FaZe were just fragging out. They were getting kill after kill, and not a whole lot of answer back by Ninjas in Pyjamas. A little bit, sure, but not as much as was needed. So basement once again.
Match on the line for Ninjas in Pyjamas. And as close as we expected out of these teams.
Well, Nip's only won 2 defenses is the one big thing.
The church, a draw is still very much on the table here. The problem is for FaZe is that church is usually the most defendable site. So if they can do it once, they have to do it again. There's no guarantee that they're going to do it again. Nip won church once, and they won gym.
Yeah, and now we're going to, or no, they won cash. And, you know, after this, we'll go to cash, assuming Nip win it.
Yeah, and then you have the 2 hardest sites for the attackers to win. Like I said, it's doable. It's very doable.
But it's not easy. And And Nip are definitely in a bad spot, I would say, considering how effective FaZe has been on their attacks. Because to be honest, FaZe are winning a lot of these attack runs that you just don't expect them to.
Yeah.
That's interesting that he puts it on the corner there, because it's more likely to be exposed to a lifeline. Like, if a lifeline impact hits the side of the box, and then the Maestro is like directly on the top, and it's not, you know, line of sight to where the impact detonates, then it won't be destroyed. But if it's on the corner there, it will be if it hits the side of the box. I don't know, it's kind of a, you know, very specific scenario, but, you know, nitpick.
Smoke will wait inside of dirt just by elbow and watch the double panels to see if any utility will be exposed on it. We haven't seen a lot of dirt action from either teams because you don't have a Hibana. Those exothermic charges need to be placed somewhere else.
They've mostly been focusing on blue.
Yeah, it's primarily blue with a little bit of Maverick attacking Church.
It's either Church or Arsenal, either one, but blue is always the pivot point. And well, this is common. I mean, we're used to that. But, you know, you got your 4 different avenues into the site. You've got Arsenal, you've got Church, blue, and dirt. And they are like, the meta just shifts between the 4. Which ones do we want to use? Where do we want to establish our crossfire? And it just changes as things move forward. And it's one of the interesting things about Clubhouse is because it never really gets all that stale, to be honest. There's always something new. Like even how Nip is holding basement, this is slightly new. It's an augmented standard basement hold, and I like that.
And I mean, it's going to get changed up as more operators get introduced. The way the Maestro plays out, the way that, you know, we see a Goyo. And like I said, Goyo does tend to have a very strong impact on a map like Clubhouse. Is the lion's share of Goyo play that we've seen has happened here. Boding well for Ninjas in Pyjamas. Psycho with the MP5 and ACOG in hand. They say, when in doubt, cog it out. And well, Psycho gets the lead-off kill for Ninjas in Pyjamas.
That's a really good one. That's
onto
the same.
Astro.
Yes, onto Astro no less. He's got that F2. He's not going to be effective in this round anymore. But another big thing is that it's the first kill with only 45 to go. And that's really important because FaZe now has to work double time to actually gain an advantage in this round. They don't even have blue control. Ion is looking for it, but he's not been able to get it thus far. Seems like it might be Muzi who's holding on to blue right now. Dirt Tunnel has been used. Mav is down. Doesn't seem like Kamikaze is aware of that, but he has just heard the pickup noise. He's just going to hold on to this position. He knows he doesn't need to push anything. 20 seconds to go. Nip are just trying to wait this out. They don't want to let FaZe finish the match just yet. Jaeger known to be in blue. There's the headshot from Ion. Well placed. The Maestro peeks him, though, and he goes down. So Nip still holding on and refragging when necessary. Pino will hold the kitchen drop, and Psycho gets another one for himself. It's all on Yuna inside of Cubby, and he'll be shot dead by the Maestro. A well-placed shot from Pino. More proud to see it. He had a really important role in that round, and I believe a 4K, but I only saw 3 personally.
I don't even think he reloaded. That's just what the Alda does, right?
Yeah, you don't need to reload.
You don't need to reload at all. So we are looking like a draw is very likely. FaZe on defense 1-4. Nip needs to do the same, and they have Cash as their final savior / salvation.
Is anyone surprised? No.
Draw city. Draw city.
Draw city. Well, we did have one draw earlier today.
Yep.
This would be the second. It would not only be the second in Latin American Pro League for the season, but the second in Pro League period for the season, having had one North American and European play day already transpire. From my understanding, there were no draws in either of those, but I'll double check it.
None.
None? Okay. There you go. Double checked. Confirmation bias. Bam.
I mean,
no, Parker actually keeps track of these things much better in his head than I do. I take notes and write everything down because I'm forgetful. Now, Cash defense here for Nip. They have defended this once, and they have failed to defend it another time. So it's a 50-50 really on whether or not we're going to get a draw, or if maybe we'll get a win for FaZe. I don't know. What do you think, Parker? You want to flip a coin?
I think a draw is exceedingly likely.
Yeah, I think it's exceedingly likely.
Just with the way the Clubhouse is played out, and these teams being as close as they are, I think a draw is very likely. I don't ever vote for draws because what's the fun in that?
It's boring, yeah.
Draws are not a hot take. I need the hottest takes possible.
I voted for draw on both the G2's matches because I really wasn't sure what to expect for them. They've proven us wrong. Or proven me wrong. Well, no, not proven me wrong necessarily, but more like, hey, we're still here, we're still good. It was a really good match for them in European Playday #1. But anyway, moving on to this, which is also very interesting. FaZe, right now, they really kind of just need to get a lucky break, if it makes sense. Because the only way that usually you have like initial kills come out for the attack is either a mistake in the setup for Nip or like a mistake in their positioning when one player gets caught in a rotation. I don't know if that's going to happen.
This cameraman, I was going to say, what is he?
He's waiting for Astro to be in a position to shoot people if there's anyone on the other side of the wall. Oh, that's another thing. Are we going to see the stud thing happen to FaZe the way it did for Nip? We're about to find out. Oh,
they've been shooting. They also have a buck as well for added insurance. So I think
that's true.
I think that is somewhat unlikely.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
But this unreinforced wall, by the way, could cost Nip. If FaZe decide to incorporate Workshop into their attack, then that unreinforced wall is going to be the thing that facilitates that. It's an option for FaZe. Nip have given FaZe choices.
Yeah, you've given construction up quite easily. And that should not be a thing that happens, especially if you don't hold the map control that is required. So
very patient droning here.
They're looking for Valkyrie cameras, is what they're looking for, to see if there's going to be a play towards them. But they lose the drone inside a logistics office, and he's not quick enough to do anything with it. And now that logistics office wall goes as well. 1 minute separates FaZe Clan from 3 points, or just the singular point that they earned a number of rounds ago.
This is a really high-pressure situation for FaZe, but you can see that they're not really faltering under the pressure. They've been here before. They've been here, done that, you know, the whole spiel. They're going to go to Thermite, the workshop wall. Flash is coming in to deny impact tricking, and I've got a feeling they're not going to be successful. Pino is successful. No, he misses it. A little too high on the wall, and now the workshop wall is wide open. With only 45 seconds, though, FaZe still have to find 5 targets to win this.
That could be a catastrophic mistake as Pino pays for it. He ends up dying in the corner. He was playing out of the whole round. FaZe get the pick that they need. They continue to press for more. Julio at the top of red. He'll guard the opening. See if there's going to be a split push taking out. Musi was integral last time. He'll watch the doorway, see if someone pushes on in. There goes a Valkyrie camera. Intel being deprived from Nip, and it's going to be chaos. Completely blinded is the Valkyrie. Kamikaze still watching as well towards construction plant going down from Yuna. Musi was the one to stop it last time. Well, we see the first diffuser going down. Musi takes out Astro. Diffuser goes down, and Nip's job is a lot harder now. Waiting to see what's going to happen. Musi finds another. Patience. Musi takes the fight with Yuna, loses it. What are Nip going to do? Low HP for FaZe. Yuna takes the fight, wins it as well. Nip with 2 left. Yuna has been so good so far. They'll need to stick to defuse. Can they long arm it? No, another one fed into the Thermite, down by the Valkyrie. But you're almost out of time. There's one member from FaZe down below, and you know that the sound is going to give you away. But it's Cameraman who gets the very final kill. And FaZe, with a scoreline of 7-5, will put up 3 big points.
So the first win for Latin America goes to FaZe, and they put themselves atop the leaderboard. Now, mind you, that took FaZe every single possible round. So if another team in Latin America happens to win with a better round, you know, disparity between them and their opponent, then they'll have the first place in their pocket. But FaZe, at least for now, good start to their season and the 3 points that they need.